Hey, what's up, Melina Mike?
What is up, buddy? How are you?
Good. We're back for another episode of Dogging It. I'm actually in your state right now. I'm in Texas. And just so much going on with the US Open. I just had to bring my equipment. I said I know we're gonna go live a couple times this week. And I was out busy with meetings all day, but I could tell by all the chatter when I got back to my hotel room that today was nuts.
It
Nuts.
was. It was, man. It started off well, it started off pretty crazy, but where are you at exactly? You said you're in Texas. Why
Yeah,
don't I
I'm
know
in
where you're at?
Dallas. I'm in Carrollton, Texas. But
Nice.
yeah, do us a favor, guys. Let us know if you can hear us okay. We're going to have a little bit of fun tonight, but we want to make sure you can hear and see everything okay. I'm, with hotel internet, so we never know how that goes. But hit up the chat, let us know. And so, Mike, let's start off. Let's talk about the craziest thing ever that occurred today. So I'm, okay, people can hear us. What's up, Paco? So I'm at my meetings. I get out of my meetings. I go to the car. I immediately check Facebook. I go to the one place you go for all pool related news, Windows Open, and I happen to see the controversy that happened in the Shane Van Boening Joey Tate match.
Okay, well before we get there,
Okay.
shout out to Joey Tate because the kid plays jam up. I did not expect what I saw today, but I'm not talking about what we're about to show. Just the way that he started. I think he started off something like 5-0 or 5-1, and then things kind of got a little tight. The arm kind of got a little hitch in the giddy up, and then yeah. Hold on, let's bring in.
Oh.
We got Panozzo on. Panozzo, you there, buddy?
Where's Panozzo, at the bar?
If you think I was going to let you guys ride me while I was driving home without that kind of response, that wasn't going to happen, all right?
Well, hold on a minute, Mike, because we're about to show the news that started off today. Joey, you want to bring?
Yeah, let's load it up. Let's load it up here, courtesy of Matchroom. Here's the video. So Joey Tate's in good shape here, 7-7 against Shane. He pockets this 2-ball, rattles it a little bit, but this is a tough positional shot. And he's going to get right where he needs to get on this 3-ball. Beautiful shot. So if you guys didn't see this, I know a lot of people probably did by now, but obviously it's clear position from the red 3 to the purple 4, right? Except the 4's not purple.
But he goes center table though. He
does.
He could have had either option.
But when he backpedals to shoot this ball, he never even looked at the pink 4 ball.
Never.
So he was just zoned in on this purple 5 ball. He shoots it right in the pocket, and you'll notice before recognize what happened, Shane's up, grabs the cue ball, proceeds to run out from there. So, question for you guys. The ultimate question that's been asked all day long, do you tell the kid?
No.
Do you stop him and say, hey, you're shooting the wrong ball?
No. I think it's a ridiculous argument that someone would have said by sportsmanship, you should, if it's, then don't have any rules. I mean, it's really pretty simple. I don't see how anybody could argue that Shane should have said, oh, excuse me, you're shooting the wrong ball. No, I mean, it's sports. You do what you're supposed to do. Players in every sport have made stupid, boneheaded mistakes. Players have picked up the ball in football and run the wrong way for what they thought was a touchdown. Should someone have stopped them and turned them around and headed them in the right direction?
Okay,
I think it's a ridiculous argument, to be honest with you.
On that note, I mean, imagine someone goes for a cut route, right, and they tear their ACL or whatever, right, on the cut. They fall down in agony. Is the safety supposed to not catch the interception there? No, you grab the damn ball and you keep on running, right? And you go for 6. I don't agree that you should have gone and told the kid nothing. It's a lesson learned. And I love Joey. I'm a big fan of Joey Tate's, but I don't think under any circumstances you're supposed to go and let him know. It's part of sports, like Mike said.
That's the point that Shane made, is that happened to him in his career, and it happened once. And after it didn't happen again. And I think that's a valid point. I got to tell you, though, for me, it's happened to me. It's happened to me in big tournaments, And I've actually given, I've said, hey, you're shooting the wrong ball. Now, that was stupid of me, especially in a competitive environment, but it's just the way that I am built. It's the way that I am. It's why Molina Mike calls me soft. Okay, because that's what I do. However, I would never fault somebody. For doing that, especially in competition. I was thinking about it today. It actually happened to me against a good player in Valley Forge. I shot the wrong ball, and this was before the balls were different colors. It was a TV set, I think. But anyway, I think it was a 4 and 5. I think I shot the 5 before the 4. But anyway, I didn't feel good about it. But I really focused after that I wasn't going to make that mistake again. The best analogy I thought of today was again from football. And it's like if you're standing there, you're an offensive lineman and you're down in your set and you look you see the defensive lineman's lined up in the neutral zone. You're not going to tell him, hey, back up, man.
Yeah, oh no.
No. It's just not going to happen. So I can't fault him for letting it play out and taking ball in hand. But let's not let this overshadow what an effort that was by Joey Tate. I mean, to be 7-7 in that position, under that pressure, that's unreal.
Yeah, he played great through the first half of the match. Really great.
Did you talk to him at all, Mike?
I'm sorry?
Did you talk to Joey at all after the match?
Yeah, I did. And he just, he owned it. He said, I can't believe I did that. So that, and he said he just, wasn't thinking. And he was more mad at himself about running, hooking himself, and he was at the table at 8-7 down with a chance to run out. Ball in hand onto 2 and promptly hooked himself onto 3. I think he was more upset about that because those were shooting mistakes, not a brain fart, right? So I think that he was more upset at himself about other opportunities that he missed that would have allowed him to, maybe take that game.
Go ahead, Mike.
No, I was going to say I was around Joey whenever we were at Hard Times, maybe like a couple months ago for the BEF, the California State Junior Championships, and Joey's a no excuses kind of kid. And if you ever meet Joey, you'll know what a good kid he is. Good head on his shoulders, just a really just strong individual mentally. You can't help but root for Joey. And what Mike said, I could literally hear in Joey's voice because that's the kind of kid that Joey is.
There's something to be said for those people named Joey. They're just exceptional humans. But look,
my brothers were named
Joey. I'm going to make a prediction here, okay? I can't think of it off the top of my head, but I remember seeing this in the past and just taking a mental note of it, that there's these miscues that occur in sports by a player. And oftentimes it's by an exceptional player who turns out to be one of the best ever. The guy who ran the wrong way with the ball, Pinozo, I forget who it was, but wasn't he a great lineman?
Yeah, Jim Marshall from the Vikings. Yeah, he was great.
Exactly. So, yeah, I think he was a Hall of Famer. So, like, this could be the moment, right? We're going to remember this. Like, isn't that the guy that shot the wrong ball? Until the point when this kid is dominant. And it looks like he's heading that way. So I'm going to make that prediction. He's going to be one of the next great American talents. And we're going to look back at this, and we're just going to laugh about it 10 years from now.
He was up 5-0 on Shane, and then you want to go make that prediction? You're supposed to say it before the match.
Captain Obvious.
before the match, you say that the kid's going to go and be great. Joey is built for that kind of potential on a number of different levels, man. He just is.
Yeah, it was kind of cool.
Yeah, he's clearly a really solid player. You can the other players watched it. We were just talking about it. I mean, he's got a great temperament, and he's going to be fine. I mean, this again, if there was a referee at that table, no one's questioning whether the referee should have told me shooting the wrong ball, right? So, it's a professional tournament. You play by certain rules. I think he'd have felt funny if, he'd have gotten away with it. So, I'm sure he wants to win the right way because he's that kind of kid, and he will. He'll do plenty of that.
Well, but it's low hanging fruit because everybody dogs on Matchroom for the 4, right? It's right.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of just to the point where I think we were getting over that. And so this was,
And then this
there always seems to be one thing in a matchroom event that, like, one piece of controversy, almost like it's planned that we're going to talk about it, and it's going to be news.
I'll tell you what. There was nothing in that room funnier than watching Emily after that happened. She walked right over there and sat down, and I looked at her, and I just rolled my eyes, and she just gave me that "don't even start" look.
I could see it.
Because she knew she was going to get tortured on social media. That it was, there's your pink 4-ball, whatever. And she went up to Joey immediately after the match, and she said, "I'm sending you a set of these balls."
No way.
Yeah, because think about it. He's never played in a matchroom event before. He's never played in one of their televised events, so he's never played with this set of balls, and it was his first match, right? So obviously, he went through the first 14 games without making any mistakes and picking the wrong ball. But it was clearly he was in a position where he had a lot going through his head, and he had never played with these balls before, and he just missed. So. But watching Emily was just hysterical because she just knew the shitstorm was coming.
Hey, Melina, do we want to put up the? I think we do want to put up the standings from the fantasy draft. I think we do want to put.
Today you want to put them up.
I think we do.
In all due fairness, we said after the first round is done, then we're gonna be able to put them up. Now, Panozzo was sitting up with his feet high. He was already smoking a cigar. He was in a perfect spot. And I don't know if you guys can go and see that. But after, Mike ended up dipping out. That's how over it that he is.
He got offended.
He said, "The hell with this."
He's bitter.
All right. So after day one, this is where we all stand. I'm trying to bring up this damn thing so I can go and see it. After day one, we got a leader, and the leader is Joey Ryan. After day one, after the first round, rather. Joey's in the lead at 63. Woo! Hold on, Mike's coming back in. Let me adjust things here. Joey's in the lead at 63.
Yeah.
Me and Dom are tied at 58, tied for second. Michael Panozzo jumps from first place after day one, sitting pretty, to one of his horses is officially out in Jeff DeLuna, and he's at 51. So that means that puts him in fourth place. And in the most shocking news of the day, not really, Collins is in last place.
Poor Collins. First time I met the guy, and you guys are just ragging all over his picks. I'll have you know, when we did this draft, I was making my picks quietly. I wasn't talking trash. I wasn't, I was just focused. I was making my picks. Everybody was criticizing. Dom was yappity yap, and I knew my team was solid.
You treat it that way in the future, you're not even going to get invited. You're not going to talk trash and beat your chest. There's no point.
Mike was suspended for a day after the day two results. We lifted the suspension just so that way everybody knows he's no longer suspended for now.
And I posted yesterday. Listen, everybody I had played yesterday. I'm going to get no points today. So what are you guys worried about?
Hey, so who are you bringing in, Mike? Because you got to bring in someone off the bench now.
Well, I've got Fortunsky and Svajcek sitting there waiting, chomping at the bit to get in the lineup. So I'm not overly concerned. I still like where I'm sitting, to tell you the truth.
You gonna go with the lefty or the righty? Which one?
I got to take a look at the. You can't even look at the flow chart to see who's got the tougher road ahead because they're going to redraw, right? So
I think if they win one more time on the winner's side, then they're through and they're done.
Yeah, they got to win one more match and then they get into redraw. Now let me ask you this, guys: do you know on the redraw, are they going to draw 32 losers into the existing flow chart? So that what I'm saying is, so Fedor would still play filler one match later, or are they reshuffling the entire deck?
That's an interesting question. I think if history's right, then the winners stay in the same order that they're winners in their section, and then they'll just be drafted losers to fill in. into those slots. But I don't think the winners go and shuffle spots any at all. I think they stay from top to bottom the same.
Yeah, so if that's the case, then I can kind of look ahead and see who might have the better road going forward.
I mean, picking someone who's going to the one-loss side may not be the worst thing in the world, you know?
Tomorrow we can go. Tomorrow we're going to be able to go alternates.
You have to announce it like tonight, Mike. You can't announce it when they're like 9-1 up. It's not exactly how this works, buddy. You know?
I can't wait till after their first match tomorrow.
Well, you can. You just won't get those points. So I actually encourage that as a matter of fact. So by all means, Pinozo. No, but I tell you what though. Listen, this was kind of off the cuff and really unplanned and really disorganized. But this is a lot of fun.
A lot of fun.
A lot of fun.
I got Jason Shaw coming up to me after every match he plays, wondering how many points he won for me and what I owe him.
That's awesome.
Is that really? Did he really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He comes up to me after he won his last match, 9-1. He goes, "So how'd we do there?"
And with that, he's gone again. How cool would that be? How cool would that be that you're at a professional pool tournament checking it out, and you're like, "Hey, Carlo, I have you in the you're my fantasy team this weekend," and he's like, "Great, how did I do for you?" That's awesome. We might be onto something here. Pinoza, are you back?
This was the sweat.
I'm in Wisconsin, so you're driving to or you kind of lose signals now and then. But
you left already, Mike.
This thing, I think we should consider a full-out fantasy league going forward for next year, for next season, where you get people to pick, a team of 5-6 guys and an alternate or two, and you have that team through like a regular fantasy sports. We'll pick the 6 biggest tournaments of the year, open tournaments, and this is your team for those tournaments.
And it's actually
like $200 cap for your team, and you bid on players, and you have to spend your $200 on 6 players.
Yeah, we were talking about that.
Yeah, we thought about that initially. Joey had brought that up where we go and price everyone out like a GM
league.
Yeah. But that's not a bad idea. We could actually break it up into 2s because there's a gap that Matchroom has, like a 3-month layoff, or at least they did this year, in between major events. So there's some there's some potential to like have 2 in a season. You know what I mean?
Between the Matchroom events, the Predator events, and so there's a little strategy involved there, right? Because Shane might not make it to all the Predator events. I don't think he likes the format as much, so maybe Fedor's favored over him. I'd rather have him because he might make
several. Would be way more value because he plays in
a lot of them. Yeah. So, but the cool part about this is it's actually possible now because we're getting a full slate on the calendar from Predator and from Matchroom, and then throw in a few more in there, Texas Open, other events. It's pretty cool. I think it's got a lot of merit. So, do you guys want to go through and I was checking out the brackets, and as I'm looking at them, I want to go through and talk about some of these matches coming up, especially on the winner side, because we're really getting down to the players now, right? There's no, local guys still in round 3 of the winner side. So let's start off tomorrow at 11:30. Carlo Beato and Jovan Bustamante. Jovan's on my team. Hello.
Well, hold on a minute because Roberto Franco said Carlo posted a video where he hit 12,000 on a slot machine. So Carlo's incentive to go and win may not be as high. So Jovan may have a lot more upside. Carlo may go and pull an SVB and say I'm good for the rest of the event and have at it. But I'm just saying. No, but all jokes aside, me and Mike were talking about this earlier. So when I made a post earlier regarding the American players who were still on the winner side, Jovan has the American flag next to him, but I found out he would not be eligible to play on the Mosconi Cup for Team USA.
Why?
Correct.
I think he was born in the Philippines, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not where you're born, right? Is it where you're born?
Yeah.
He had dual citizenship, but I don't think he does.
Nick said he was working on citizenship, but I don't even know what that would go and look like, because what if like Shaw or Thorson or Mika have have dual citizenship, they're still going to be representing their home country.
Well, I'll tell you.
Have a choice. Then you have a choice. It's just like the Olympics. I mean,
Yes.
Anthony Rizzo has dual citizenship as an Italian American, and he played on Italy in the Olympics when baseball was in the Olympics. I mean, Olympic athletes do that all the time.
Yep.
Listen, I'm not saying there's any shady business going on in pool, but if Jason had the ability to maybe slip some money under the table to be on Team USA, you better believe that pot would get pretty juicy, boys, to go and convince Jason to rock the red, white, and blue. He's that much of a value on this side.
All right, Mike, we're going down these brackets. We've gotten exactly nowhere. So who do you like in this one, Carlo and Joven?
Oh, I'm going to go with the reigning defending champion. But Joven is playing lights out. I mean, you can't.
The reigning defending champion of the Friday Night Chip Tournament in Phoenix, Joven Bustamante. Is that what you're doing?
Yeah, exactly.
For those of you that don't know, Joven lives in the Phoenix area, and he doesn't get out to a lot of big tournaments. He's definitely the best player in Arizona, just a top talent. And but he does go around to the local scene. And here's the cool part: everybody loves him. All the people in Arizona, we love him. He's just such a nice guy, and even the amateurs that he just skunks and kills, they still love having the opportunity to play against him. So that's the first match. Next match, Ralph and Alex.
Blast in the past.
Yeah, right.
What do you got, Mike?
Who's in this? Who's the next match? I can't see it.
Ralph Souquet and Alex Pagulayan.
Wow. That's like right up Dom's alley, right? Or no, Collins' alley.
Bingo. Yeah.
That's like a match made for Collins, right? Because it's like a throwback match. Boy, I don't know. I like Alex.
Yeah, it's a hard one to pick because, at any time Ralph can be in good form and kind of channel some of his past successes and play very well. And same with Alex, right?
I'm going to go just from a strictly scoreline standpoint. I think Ralph had more convincing wins wire to wire than Alex did. Plus, for my money's sake and for the fantasy draft that we have, I cannot be rooting on Alex. I think Collins has Alex. So I'm for sure going to be rooting for Ralph Souquet. Although on paper, Alex is certainly going to go and be the favorite.
Here's an exciting matchup. Jason Shaw and Robbie Capito. Robbie have a chance here, Mike? What do you think?
Which Mike?
You. Not Molina. I'll call him Molina.
Okay. Does Robbie have a chance? Of course, he has a chance. I would say it's relatively slim. Jason looked really good so far out there, and I like Jason to get pretty deep into this tournament. Of course, he's one of my horses, so I'm looking for not only a win, but I'm looking for like 9-2.
Wow.
So Mike's not just rooting for a W. He wants to win in style because you get bonus points over a Fargo match. So
100%.
I hear that as Pinozzo's given Jason Shaw -7. I'll take it. I'll take Capito.
Oh, gladly. Yo, let me tell you, those Fargo hot rate matches, the bonuses have been playing a big factor in a lot of guys scoring 7, 8, and 9 points. I mean, it's been massive.
Yeah.
What
go ahead.
What was the did Margaret cover at 5?
Yes. Yeah, I think that was the exact score line with her Fargo, right at 5.
It was 5? Okay. I was curious. I figured it was right around there.
She had a good chance, too. She was like 5-4 down, I think.
Hey, before we get to the next one, let's check out some of the comments here. We got my buddy Eric Nordstrom in there. What's up, Eric? And Rick Glasscock. We're now neighbors. He must have moved to Arizona. What's up, man? Thanks for checking us out, guys. Do us a favor and hit that share button. We'd really appreciate it. Jason Foster has Shaw to win it all. So I think he wants to know.
It's kind of hard, but now I'm rooting for my fantasy thing. So,
well, I was going to say, Jason
comes down.
Jason wants to know how the fantasy thing's going. Mike, why don't you tell him who's in first place?
This is some bullshit. What this is. Joey is allegedly in first place with 63. Dom and I are at 58 apiece. Pinozzo, he started off good, but the wheels kind of came off whenever we had all our horses go and play. He's in 4th place at 51.
The wheels didn't come off. What wheels came off? Nobody played today. of my guys.
Well, we
playing.
actually had a full roster of players, you know. Well, hey, but you did have Jeff. You had Jeff, and I told him, true story, whenever we did our draft, when he picks Jeff DeLuna, I'm scratching my head here, and I said, watch him. He's going to go 2-0, and that didn't exactly go and happen, but it was more like
pretty close.
1-2. Yeah, he won one match. Congratulations.
Couldn't happen to a nicer guy. Anyway.
Oh, you're brutal, Joey.
I hope he's not watching. Next match, we have Johan Chua and Kopinyi. That's a great matchup. That is a great third-round matchup.
Yeah,
I'll tell you what.
Blockbuster.
I love Chua's game. I mean, I know Shane just beat him pretty handily over there, but man, what a player he is. We saw him out in Vegas a couple years ago, Mike. What a match he had against Naoki Oi. Remember that match?
Oh, me and you were sitting first
Yeah.
row. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah. I mean, it took he pushed out Hill, and it took an amazing jump shot and run out by Oi to beat him. But, this is going to be an interesting matchup. I got to go with Ko in this one. What do you think, Pinozzo?
Who's on your team, though, Joey?
I'm going.
Can you give
going
full
with that
disclosure?
one for sure. I like Ko in that.
I'm going against the grain here, boys. Against both of y'all. I'm going Chua, and I'm going Chua in style. As a matter of fact, Ko went, I think, 2-0 at Sandcastle. So I know he's won 2 matches so far, but it's against Ben Crowley and Matt Crawl. No disrespect. Chua's look fluid. Chua's look sharp. I love his game. I think he's suited for the matchroom stage. But this is about as top shelf third-round matchup as you can go and ask for in the U.S. Open.
Yeah.
It really doesn't get much better than this.
It really does. You could see a match like this in the finals. You really could.
1,000%.
All right, so it looks like we have 2 Austrians here, Max Lechner and Daniel Gutenberger. I don't know much about Gutenberger.
I don't know,
name.
but I know your boys got Max in the fantasy draft to the delight of Joey Ryan, and if I was there, I may go Tanya Harding on Daniel Gutenberger just so that way I can go and rake up some points. That's all I'm saying.
I'm telling you, love you some Max Lechner. You love you some Max Lechner.
Don't say it, Joey. Don't say it.
Hey, Pinozzo, do you know anything about Daniel Gutenberger?
No, Gutenberg? No,
Okay.
Didn't he invent the printing press?
Hey, but let me ask you guys something. Like, would y'all rather have your horses go and lose one and know that they're going to go and play 2 more on the back end for some more points? Or would you rather them win one, be guaranteed into the final 64, but they're done for the day, though?
You're trading 3 points one way or the other. I mean, if you get 3 points for a win, I'd rather win every game.
Yeah.
Interesting strategy. I got Kazakhs on the back end, so I'm loving him raking up some dead meat over there. Trust me.
All right. Okay, so we have the Spaniard Jonas Sudo against Misko Fortunski on Mike's bench.
He actually
Gotta
won
like
style,
the butcher. Gotta like the butcher carving him up.
He'll be coming off the bench, would be my guess. But Jonas is coming off a strong finish in the European Open, if I'm not mistaken. And it looks like with his 9-2 and 9-1 victory, the first one was against Joe Spence. Joe Spence was a strong Canadian player. So Jonas has some momentum to him. But for Fortunski, man, I mean, going back to the World Pool Masters, he's just looked super sharp. I think that's that close second tier matchup for me. But it'll definitely be a dogfight.
I think Fortunski's capable of beating anybody up to the quarterfinals. And then something happens there and he just can't get there yet. I don't know if this is the tournament, but I like him in early rounds of almost every event. He just looks silky smooth. He's a dominant player.
Yeah.
All right, so we got Wojciech Sedgwick against Levan Corteza. Interesting matchup here.
This is the reason why Mike will not bring Wojciech off the bench and he will go with Fortunski, because Levan is a monster of monsters. He's a Filipino slayer, and that's literally his nickname, is the Slayer. So I like Levan a lot. His 9-ball game is strong. He's a grinder like anyone else on earth when it comes to these top players. I'm really liking Levan in this matchup myself.
Yeah, I'm with you, Mike. He's a seasoned veteran who looks like he's about 25, plays great. I gotta like him here. What do you think, Pinozzo?
Wojciech and Levan.
I like Levan. I've always liked Levan. That was the toughest first round match. Or was it a first round match? He played Bistro match.
Second
No,
round.
Second
Yeah,
round.
that was a pretty tight second round match. So he
Dude,
looked
trust
good.
me.
So yeah, I like Lee Van.
I was sweating, Mike, when I seen Mark in there facing off in that second round. I said, "God damn, why couldn't I just get one cupcake in that second round like some of these other guys?" Mark's a grinder too, man.
Yeah, good player.
He can go deep in events.
Well, Wojciech is 18-1 in game count so far, and the second round he did play. I think he's South African, Jason Theron. I know he has some pretty good results. Beat Payne McBride in the first round. Pretty solid player. Lost
Payne almost
9-0.
came with the upset in that one. I was scoreboard watching quite a bit when Payne was playing Jason. I'll tell you that, buddy.
Yeah. So
sorry about that. Who's Wojciech playing?
Oh, it was Wojciech and
Lee Van.
Lee Van. That's the one we just did.
Lee Van. Now we're on Greg Hogue and Jesus Atencio.
You want to talk about someone else who the American fans are rooting, hoping that the guy gets his citizenship? It's that kid right there, Jesus from Venezuela.
Greg Hogue?
Easy.
Yeah.
Easy, buddy. Easy. It's
great. Sorry. Go ahead.
You like Greg? You can get action if you like Greg. You will.
I do like Greg. I don't necessarily like him against Jesus, but I do like the guy. I think he's a great player. He proved that last year. He won that Sandcastle event. He's under the radar. I probably should have taken him as my last longer, but I didn't. He's got a chance. Don't count him out.
This is a great matchup. This is a great matchup for guys who are, this matchup and the Shane Wolford matchup. These are like, okay, if you really want to make Team USA and you're going to make your statement, you do it right now. So if Greg Hogue's going to do that, if he's really, if he wakes up tomorrow and says, this is my shot to make this team, then you see someone try to play their best, right?
His stock is super high. Jeremy thinks a lot about his game. Mike nailed it on the head. If you want to go and not talk about it, but be about it and let your game go and do the talking, you go and have signature wins in crucial moments. And that's 100%. What Mosconi Cup is. Jesus is got the upside of a world champion. And he seems to be stepping that way, knocking on doors. He gets close in big matchups. I like him in this particular matchup personally. But if Greg goes in what will be, in my opinion, an upset, a lot of people are going to be talking about Greg Hogue from Oklahoma. I promise you that.
That's right. All right, next match we're
going to find out.
Yeah, that's a good point, Pinozzo, is that he knows that winning this match against Jesus might be huge for him. And if he does, that shows that he can handle that kind of pressure, right? The kind of pressure the Mosconi Cup brings. That's an interesting conversation.
Yeah, no, he's going to know when he wakes up.
All right, next.
That's a huge one.
Yep. Next matchup, David Alcady against Chris Melling. Chris Melling coming off a win against Billy Thorpe.
You go, Mike.
No. I mean, Chris looked okay against Billy. I mean, he beat him pretty bad, but he missed a lot of balls. He's not playing ball. I don't like him to win this match. It was really disappointing to see Billy get beat that bad by him because, like I said, it's not Chris Melling's all of a sudden hit really high ball gear. So I don't. I would.
I got to go with David. He seems to be hitting on all cylinders. What hasn't the guy gone deep in this year? He's the epitome of consistency, aside from like a Mario Key, and of course the guys who are just right there on the top of the European rankings. I love David, and David's got a really good chance to make a case for the Mosconi Cup as well, being that everyone expects Francisco to make this team. If David goes on a run, you better watch out because he may go and snag a spot from the obvious picks.
All right, the next matchup at 11:30 tomorrow, Thorsten Holman against To Lian Han.
Boy, I don't know, and good luck to both players. I know I've seen Thorsten go and shake a lot when it comes to spot shots in the Predator events. I don't know who I'm rooting for or who I'm rooting against. I hope that I'll put it like this. I hope one of those guys goes and faces one of my horses on the loser side. And that's all I'm going to say about that.
Well, look, both these guys are coming off of hill wins. And you know how it works in tournaments sometimes. They have that really tight match, they get through it, and then they can catch a gear. So it's quite possible that whoever wins this match might actually catch gear, win a few more matches. We'll see. I'm going with Orson.
Would you, if you said that they're going to go and win 3 matches, would you bet the over or the under?
Under. But I still think it's possible.
he snap called the under too. Instantly called it.
He's gonna catch a gear. It's gonna be a really short gear, but it's gonna be a gear.
it'll be first gear.
Yeah. And then the engine will lock up. Who's next?
Dennis Grabe, and I don't really know a whole lot about this player. Besser? Basar.
From Albania.
Spahiu. Oh, he's the one that played with Kachi, right?
Correct.
Yeah, I got in a little bit of trouble because I said something on one of Kachi's comments. I saw them like handshake or something. And during the tournament, they did none of that. And I was like, oh, I didn't even know you guys liked each other because you never fist bumped or anything. And Kachi's like, why do we have to be like everyone else? He scares me to death.
Yeah, no, he's like, talk about a man-child. He is absolutely enormous, Kachi. Holy cow.
Like a tight end.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. So who you like in this matchup, Molina?
Besser's game is really underrated. In the last World Cup of Pool, maybe not this year, but the year before, he carried Kachi and has a really strong ability. But Dennis just seems to kind of be on a mission, 9-0 and 9-2, and BJ Ussery is no slouch. And if you're on the East Coast of the Carolinas, then you know that all too well. BJ can go and play some. 9-2 is a really convincing victory. I think that Dennis kind of gets overlooked a lot, but it's his own fault. But he's got the ability to kind of go and show the world that, hey, I'm still here and I can still play. And for my money, I considered Grabe that 6th man out for a long time on the European team. Now he's kind of been an afterthought, but here's his chance. You know, he can go and catch a gear in this event.
Panozzo, any comments on this one?
Yeah, this is early enough in the tournament where I'll stick with Dennis Grabe. You know, it's not until like the later round when the wheels come off.
It's
inevitable. It's inevitable, but this is a little too early, so I got him here.
How did nobody pick him in the fantasy draft?
Nobody picked him?
Nobody. None of us. No.
Yeah.
What were you going to say, Joey?
I was going to say, I kind of feel like at some point, no pro players are going to want to come on our show anymore because we're going to have dissed all of them.
No.
Okay, Al-Youssef and Vergara.
Hold on, let's bring back in Mike. So we're talking about Al-Youssef versus Met, and I tell you what, this is where I think Mike might have bribed someone because Abdullah is on Mike's fantasy team, if you guys can look on the screen. Yeah. And somehow or another, no disrespect to Met, but PS lost to Met, and now I really like Abdullah in this matchup, and I like him pretty convincingly. I'd probably go and lay 3 games on the wire if I was going to go and fire some at it. I mean, if Mike's in a really good spot there, I feel like.
Abdullah's in a pretty good spot too.
Yeah, you got a chance to make the final 64.
He's a good player, and I really kind of think he's got a good shot at getting, 32-16 somewhere in there.
When you're, I know as an amateur, when I play a tournament, I watch the brackets, right? I'm looking at what happened in the other bracket where I'm going to play next. And I'm just wondering, do you think these guys are looking at this matchup and they're like, oh man, I hope PS loses this one. I don't want to have to play him. Do you think they bracket watch, Mike?
For sure. I think, you got to go and scoreboard watch. I can, you see it in baseball. Let me bring in Mike. You see it in baseball all the time. Whenever whenever it's like the end of the season, and you'll have fans and players and teams going and watching at that scoreboard to see who's going to go and win or who's losing, who's got the lead going into the last, third of the game or whatever the case may be. I think I love Abdullah to go and get through here. I think for sure they go and watch. But even if he wins here, which I like him to, you have no idea who you're going to go and get on the back end. And I think there's going to be a lot of great players are going to be sent to the one-loss side starting tomorrow.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Hey, guys, thanks for tuning in. We're going down the winner side right now. Do us a favor, hit up the chat. Let us know who you like in these matches as we're talking about them and maybe some of your commentary on them. We'd like to kind of consider that. Next matchup, we have Ko Pin Chung and Shane Wolford.
Go ahead, Mike.
I can't wait for this one because I just want to see how the kid does. I mean, this is I mentioned to Mike to Molina in a thread the other day or yesterday. This is the match where I think if he can do something here, if he can pull off the upset here, to me it guarantees him a spot on Team USA.
Guarantees him. You're saying that if he beats Little Ko, he's making Team USA.
That's my pick. That's what I would think. That if you're looking for someone who came up when everybody was looking at each other, looking over their shoulders, knew they had to produce in a big moment, they had to make it either a deep run or have a signature win. If he's still on the winner's side, if he goes and pulls this off, then I think he's there.
That would be a signature win for sure.
What do you get?
Yeah. He had a good hill match before this with Van Lerup, solid player. And I think you're right, Mike. That's a signature win. That's going to go a long way in Jeremy's thought process in his formation of Team USA.
That said, would I pick him tomorrow? Probably not.
Yeah, I was going to say Ko's definitely the favorite, but let's see. Race to 9-9 ball, right?
He knows what's in front of him, so he knows what he can do if he can really zero in tomorrow. I think he would feel the same way that if I win today, I got to be right there.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, it seemed like maybe a year ago his stock was a little higher. Everybody was high on him. And then this year, it just doesn't seem like he's been performing as well. But with that, maybe he's retooled some things and maybe he comes out and has a strong performance the rest of this tournament. But yeah, I have to go with Ko here.
I loved him during the first third of the year. The first 3 months of the year, yeah. I thought the kid was playing great. I thought it was his spot to go and lose. The last 4 months or so, I think there's been a lot more questions, and then it's been more of him kind of putting his foot down when it comes to that spot being mine. Without a doubt, this is the kind of win that could make an argument for you. This is big. Yeah. He was down in that match against Van Lerup. I want to say something like 8-5, showed a lot of heart coming back, and Jan's a very strong young player from the Netherlands. It's time, like we talked about with Greg, but it's different with Greg because I think Greg's got a lot more to go and do, where I think Shane's got a legitimate chance at making this team, especially with Earl not being at the U.S. Open. I think that really opens up his chances to kind of go in and say, this is mine. If you beat Little Ko, I agree with Mike. I think he's in.
Yeah, I think when we were talking about Greg before, I think he needs more than just that win tomorrow. I think he needs a couple wins, but I think this might be the one for Shane that propels him into the Mosconi. I think you're right about that.
Agreed.
All right, next matchup, Kachi versus Don Quak Hong.
Well, you better go and pick Kachi if you're Joey Ryan for a number of
It's because he hates me?
Well, because you're scared of him and you got him on your fantasy team.
That's true. I sure do. Yeah, no, I like Kachi in this one. I mean, I don't know how to say this, but he's a tough player to root for. It just seems like... I'm serious. I like the guy. I like his talent.
Well, he's for sure never coming on this show, buddy.
But when you watch him play, he's very methodical. He really takes his time. It's not the most exciting, while he's playing, which he'll tell you he doesn't care, right? He'll tell you it's about results, I'm sure. But he's steady and he's consistent. And yeah, I like him to win a few more matches here.
I'm 1,000% on board with you. I think Kachi's got that type of gear to end up being like a locomotive. He's got that kind of upside to where he can just really bash through a tournament. That matchup with Vitaly, I did not get to go and see it, but we all know what kind of run Vitaly's been on over the last, let's say, 5 weeks or so, or maybe month and a half. to go and win 9-7 like that shows that it was a dogfight, and he was managed to go and pull away. Quak is a great player from Vietnam, but I think I like Kachi quite a bit. I like him in this matchup, and I probably like him in a few more, to be honest with you. I don't care who he faces from the one-loss side. He's got that kind of gear.
Pinozzo, you got anything on Kachi?
Well, I mean, it was an interesting analogy you put on, he's got the power to steamroll the locomotive thing because he's built like that. I mean, and that's the way he kind of plays. It's just like he just puts his head down. He doesn't like go sprinting through anything. He just pushes ahead, pushes through, and he's big enough and strong enough to just barrel his way to where he wants to get. He's not real pretty watching him do it, but he could certainly get the job done. So,
hey, did y'all see that? Did y'all see that Roberto 9-ball that took 3 minutes? I mean, speaking of pace of players.
No, we're gonna get to that.
Okay, all right, my bad.
But but Kachi Petsura, that was a really good. Kachi was up ahead early, and then Vitali came back and kind of brought it a lot closer. I think it was 5-5 or 6-5, 6-6, somewhere in there. And then Kachi kind of kept a game or two ahead of him the rest of the way. But that was a really good matchup.
Look, the moral of the story with Kachi, he just wins. Big tournaments, 100%. He finds a way to win.
Yeah.
All right, so we have Fedor against Hunter Lombardo. Possible for Hunter to pull off an upset? What do you guys think?
How high can we bet?
So you really like him to pull off the upset?
Lay a money line. That's what I think. No disrespect.
Let's see who he played.
I liked, if I was going to go and take a player with games, it would have been in that second round matchup. Fedor had an interesting post last night that I asked Mike about early this morning. A 9-7 victory over Alexa, but it was more telling of what Fedor looked like or how he quote unquote fell apart during that round before. He was up pretty big. Alexa comes back, and I think if you've watched Alexa in the last year, you know that kid can go and win some. I want to say this is the same guy who should have beat Josh in the in the internet. Well, what event was it, Mike? The UK
Open.
It was a hill, and he dogged it. But I want to say this is the same player. And Fedor's first round against Cohen Bell, 9-1, does not reflect the amount of opportunities that Fedor went and gave up. I think that he stumbled through the third round, but I like this matchup with Hunter to really help get Fedor comfortable and in gear. And if that guy gets comfortable on those conditions, the whole tournament better be on notice.
I mean, Fedor stumbling, is that like a 750 speed? I mean,
no. I mean, the wheels.
Did he really play bad, Mike?
Yeah, the wheels came off. He was up 8-3 and was running out and got himself, weird on the 9. Was still not still a shot. He makes 8.5 to 9 out of 10 times, and he missed it. And then after that, his mind just.
There he went.
I think the reason why I say it like that, Joey, is because Fedor is considered the best player on earth right now.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of standard that you hold Fedor to, is as the very best player on earth. That's how you go and grade him. Great win in that second round though to hold off Alexa. But I think it's a lot more comfortable against Hunter. And then you can kind of you can relax a little bit because you're going to have a guy from the B side coming and facing you. So
yeah, listen, I apologize for the stream kind of popping in and out on me. If it's too annoying for everybody, especially the viewers, let me know, and the next time I go out, I'll just stay out.
No, you're good, buddy.
Yeah, you're fine.
But yeah, no, Fedor, it's interesting because I really have wondered how he was going to be back in a top big international field.
That's right.
And I don't know if any of this is kind of like mental stamina rust that would allow him to fall apart in the late stages of a match that he would have never fallen. Maybe he's just not used to this type of field again. He's kind of getting his bearings again. I don't know. I've been interested to see how he was going to do here. And so, we'll see. I mean, he's still just such an amazing player, obviously. So we'll see what happens. And like you guys said, if there's anything that'll get you back in stroke, it's a third round matchup with Hunter.
You know, we've seen players.
Oh man.
Another one not coming on.
Yeah,
Okay,
we can just talk about add him to the list.
we've seen players struggle in tournaments and still dig deep and come through and win. But
Yeah.
when you describe the wheels falling off, I don't really recall a top level tournament like this seeing a player where the wheels fall off and they come back and win the event. Obviously, Fedor is capable of doing that, but I'd have to say it's a long shot from here. It seems like he might be struggling with confidence or concentration, or like you said, Mike, with mental stamina. Right, not having competed on this stage in a long time, so he's really going to have to dig deep here and focus from here on out, and
But
really
he can do it because
He can.
I consider him a really mentally strong kid.
Absolutely.
And so I think, if anything, he went and he probably rapped his head against the wall once or twice last night. When I saw him today, he looked fine. He didn't look like he was shaken or like just still pissed at himself or anything like that. He looked fine. It could be one of those things where he just like, now the cobwebs are cleared and he's ready to go after it.
If he gets comfortable, he can go and take over like one of the top few players on earth, like the Fillers and Albins and Shanes of the world, because he's got that type of execution when he gets everything calibrated and dialed in. He's that kind of monster. Like Mike said, I love a third round going into it facing Hunter. But you know what? On Joey's point, I don't think any top level player would have the honesty publicly to go and say that the wheels came off. It really shows how aware that Fedor is, what kind of student he is of the game, and more importantly, his own game. If he gets more comfortable on these conditions, watch out.
that's a great point, Melina, because how many times top players just be like little bitches, right? They play bad. They play bad, and it's like the waitress did this, or somebody sharked them from the next table, or whatever. It's just reality. It happens all the time. Some players that I had the utmost respect for, I see them lose a match and then melt down like that, and I'm like, wow, big ego, but really not as mentally tough as I thought you were because you didn't take responsibility for what it was that you could have done different. And you're right. Fedor recognized it. He's taking responsibility for it. I love him. He's still not going to win this event. Next.
I would tell one story, and then we'll go on to the next round. So I remember talking with Fedor right after he won the world championship, and one of the points that I brought up to him was how composed he was at the finish line. Really getting through those last 3 games. And I said, man, you look like you didn't have a care in the world. And he stopped me right in my tracks immediately, and he said, Mike, I've never been so nervous in my life. That's the kind of openness and honesty that you'll go and get from Fedor. That's the kind of guy he is.
Love it. Love it. Okay, Yoshioka and Joshi, as Pinoza would say.
Josh.
We all know who we're all going to pick. It's going to be the German. I think he dodged one against Sharik, but we're all going Josh Filler here, without a doubt.
Yeah. You don't want to play Josh after he narrowly escapes somebody else.
No.
Because he is going to bury you.
All right. Next match, Albin against Thea Chia Chen.
This is the guy who took Yap to a shootout at the Predator event out there in Michigan. If you don't know his name, the guy can play.
Hesea. Okay.
Yeah.
We all know Albin's been on a tear for the last 2 years, but if you're gonna pick one where a top player could go down, this is 1,000% that matchup, without a doubt.
Yeah.
So are you taking him?
Yeah, Mike.
Well, I would take him with some games. 1,000% I would. And by the way, Albin's my guy. He's on my fantasy team, so I want the guy to win and crush him. And the guy's got a high Fargo. I don't know exactly what it is, but I know this guy's a monster. Chen is, but it's a tough matchup, man.
How do you feel about Albin's form right now, Melina?
I haven't seen him hit a ball, to be honest with you, but that previous score line of 9-5, and I think that was against Amber Chen, who won the women's event out there in Canada. So I know she can play, even though She's one of the few female players here. Um, I don't know. I haven't seen him hit a ball, to be honest with you. But we all saw him with this same break format go and beat Shane in the final. I saw him a lot during the European with this format, same conditions, go and dominate. And that's the reason why I picked him, where I did. So I'm hoping he wins convincingly, but it's a tough matchup. Don't get it twisted.
And Hesea beat my amateur pick, my last longer pick, Kevin West, who knocked off Danny Olson 9-4 in the first round, and ends up losing 9-1 in the second round. So,
What happened with Danny, man? I had such high hopes for Danny.
Yeah, when he beat Chris at the time, not Reinhold, Chris, shoot, what was his Robinson? When he beat Chris Robinson before he was Reinhold, I mean, he was so dominant in that 3-day match. And we all had high hopes for him. We thought he was definitely in the running for a Mosconi Cup team, and he's just really struggled since then. I don't know.
I think he had a chance to kind of take the bull by the horns in plenty of events over the last 2 years. Unfortunately, it just didn't happen. But, hopefully Danny goes and bounces back.
All right, next matchup's intriguing. Oscar Dominguez and Sanjin. Who do you like, Penozo?
Boy, I don't know. Something tells me Oscar's going to win this.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah, something tells me Oscar. He's. I think he feels pretty comfortable that he's going to be on Team USA at this point. I just think this would be a nice win for him, and I think he realizes that. It's not beating Josh or Fedor or something like that, but it's
close. It's close.
It's an A- win for sure. So and he never gets blown out by any of these guys. So I like him to be in this match late, and I'd love to see him pull it through.
What about you, Molina? I know it's your boy.
That's my guy. I'll for sure be rooting for Oscar in this matchup. I think Oscar knows that he's in a good spot to make it on the team, but I think he's still very much he's been through a lot in the Mosconi Cup where he feels like he should have been on there and he wasn't, and he feels he's very aware of that. So I don't think he takes anything or any opportunity for granted. Sanjin is not a guy you go and look past by any means. On paper, Sanjin's going to be the favorite. Like Mike said, he's kind of that A- player. I think he's on the cusp of becoming a monster of monsters, like we consider all of these, or these few guys anyway, to be in. Oscar's in a good spot overall in the Mosconi Cup. You bet your ass if he wins this match, he's going to be a lock for my money. I'm hoping that he goes and beats Sanjin, but it's gonna be tough because that kid can play.
So what about loss for Oscar? He's still in Mosconi, you think?
I think so. I do.
Penozo?
Well, I guess it depends on what somebody else does. If all of a sudden, like one of these other Americans who's still on the winner's side, gets into some money and knocks Oscar out of the points part of it, then is he a wild card pick automatically? A little bit different story. Again, I think Oscar knows all this, and I think even if he thought that he's pretty close to a lock, he knows that he would feel a lot better about himself and his game and the way everybody else in the country is looking at him if he was to go ahead and win this. And Sanjin's on my team; he's on my fantasy team. So, but I would love to see. I would love to see. I'm okay losing my $100 if Oscar beats Sanjin tomorrow.
$100? That's what we're betting.
That's what we're firing, buddy. You're in the lead, buddy. You're in the lead. You're in the lead.
Yes. Okay. Moritz Newhausen versus Sky Woodward. Sky with his new Q-Tech equipment. Who you liking this one, Mike?
Oh man, we saw Moritz get third at the Sandcastle event. I had the pleasure of interviewing him, and unfortunately, that audio was really terrible. So I hope we get Moritz back on soon on the show. But when it comes to his game, his game is definitely picking up. It's tough having that flag in front of you because there's a lot of guys with a big resume in front of you. But Moritz is showing what kind of class that he's made of, even though he's being so young. Sky, He didn't look the sharpest against Jeff, but I don't think he's got that Mosconi Cup pressure. Because for my money, I think he considers himself, and rightfully so, a lock, being an MVP consistently the way that he is. For me, this is more about Moritz and what kind of upside that he's going to go and have versus Sky. Just my opinion, but I like Sky in the matchup though.
Panozzo?
I like Sky too, but I think it's going to be close. Moritz is a really good player, really nice kid, smart,
Definitely
level head. I mean, Sky's going to have to earn it, but I like Sky in this too.
I like Sky in this one too, and I want to know, can we delete somebody from this chat? Because Pamela Reed is saying Dominic Dunn's going to win the fantasy thing, and I just want to boot her out of here.
give her the boot.
I can't believe
we don't allow that kind of talk around here, Pamela.
I can't believe Dominic Dunn.
Dom gave Panozzo the boot. Then
I was gonna say, I have a feeling Dom's like somehow controlling this, and every time Panozzo says something he doesn't agree with, he just boots him right out.
Instantly out. Instantly out.
You're out of here. Okay, we have my guy. Oh, there he is. We got my guy Mario He and Roland Garcia. Who
do you like, Joey?
I like Mario He. I picked him a team. He's looking good. I mean, he's just steady. He doesn't make a whole lot of errors. He's not really a fancy player by any means. I just love the guy. Goes deep in a lot of events. He's going to take this one.
You know, I consider Mario that right below, kind of in that Sanjin category when it comes to class. I mentioned about Albin kind of being in a trap there. If I was going to go and pick one other one to be a matchup, to be an upset, quote unquote upset, it'd be against Mr. Second Place, because Roland is Mr. Second Place. He has consistently gotten second place in so many events. It's a tough matchup for both these guys. I feel like I loved Mario's rhythm at the European. I thought he showed that, boy, he can do something here, and I hope he does, because I love rooting for the guy. But yeah, you got to go and put Roland away. That's for sure.
Panozzo, Mario He, and Roland Garcia. What you got?
Mario.
Thank you.
Mario's he's got a lot on the line. I think Mario knows that if he can really go a deep run, he might have a shot at stealing a point. Depending on how. I mean, Francisco barely got
really go on a run.
Francisco barely made it through today. I don't know how you ended up winning that match. I know that when the other kid was at 7, the Finnish kid, he had the 8-9 right at the one end of the table, and he miscued on the 8. Yeah. So, and I thought if Francisco goes like out early, out of the money here, someone like Mario or Alex Kazakis could if they took a deep run, could steal his spot. So, and I think Mario knows that that's still a possibility. So I like Mario playing, fast and loose and really trying to get his way deep into this tournament.
Roland can tighten up a little bit. Roland can have that back arm going and lock up if the pressure gets a little high. But they're both great guys, and on paper, Mario should win though.
Next matchup, Naoki Oi and Karol Skawarski. I like Oi. Not much to say about that. I think he's going to win this one pretty handily.
Thanks for the expert analysis, my man.
That's the way I roll.
What say you, Mike?
No, I like him in this. I mean, I don't know about handling. Skawarski's no slouch, but yeah, I like him. I like him to win here as well.
I hope Karol wins because of that guy who's in the chat right there out of Orlando, and Dominic Dunn, because he's got him in his fantasy group, and I am.
Why is Dominic not in here in the chat?
He said he was on date night, and then he's spending the entire date commenting in here. So,
jeez.
Listen, the guy with the red and white below Oi, the Polish player, just because of the flag alone, says he can play some 9-ball pool.
Yep.
And he's seasoned, just like Oi is. It's gonna be tough. You gotta like Oi. All jokes aside, he's that kind of skill. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Petri against Tim de Ruyter. Boy, Petri's coming off a big win from Rukun Lin, and I know we gave Dom some hell about who that pick was.
I
But
thought he was taking another woo.
yeah. But that's a big win for Petri. We have. I don't know that I've seen Petri play over here in the States since the first U.S. Open for Matchroom at Mandalay, and I could be mistaken. I don't know if he was there last year, but if he was very much an afterthought. I like him in this round, and no disrespect to Tim because Tim's a really good guy, and I like him, but I like Petri here.
Pinozzo?
Yeah, I mean, I was talking about Petri when I saw him yesterday. Same thing. I hadn't seen him in a long time, and whatever happened to him? Because there was a point where it was like, he's a good young player. He was kind of like, I kind of looked at him and Mario the same way a few years ago, and then Petri just never really got to that next gear. But I think that he played well here, so let's give it. I'll ride with him.
So next matchup, we got Conrad Shujishin and Ronald Regley.
Earth is picking Conrad, and as Dom would say next, but Ronald, Regley can go and play. I think he's of Filipino descent, if I'm not mistaken, even though he rocks the Swiss flag. It's gonna be a good strong matchup, I think, for both these guys, to be honest with you. Especially seeing Conrad's scoreline the match before. I don't know who that guy is, David Daya, but 9-7, you would expect a no-name American player for Conrad to go and steamroll.
Dave Daya has been around a long time.
No, this is I think it's his son. I think it's okay. Derek. Yeah, I think it's Derek, who's his son, who's also a very good player. He's a good shortstop player in Pennsylvania. Yeah, so I mean, he's capable, so I wouldn't look at that match and say that kind of downgrade Conrad. And besides, Conrad's been playing great after he faced a really good amateur player in Vegas for the Predator event.
Who was that, Joey?
Barely got by.
4041
does a podcast.
4041.
I think it was 4041, but I got some bad rolls.
Well, that one win would have gotten you points in our fantasy league because you were not expected to get any.
Thank you, Pinoso. Thank you. All right, so a little. I'll just give a little kind of shout out here, Mickey Krauss. I've actually interviewed him for Pool Player Podcast. That'll be coming out very shortly. So you'll get to hear all about him and what he's all about. He's got a tough matchup against Yap. I'd love to see Mickey. I'd love to see Mickey do it and knock Yap off, but I mean, that's tough sledding there because Yap is just in great form, playing great. Just won the Predator event back to back, second year in a row, and I mean, Yap's just really coming into his own. One of the top players in the world, so I got to pick Yap here.
Yeah, he's reaching that level at this point where it's just he's not surprising himself anymore. That's for sure. So he's going to make a deep run here, I think.
I mean, the guy was in the final. The guy was in the final last year. He's won the last two quote unquote majors that we've had. I mean, if you're going to consider Sandcastle a decent event, which with that field it was, and the Michigan event, the Predator event, two different disciplines. The guy looks smooth, and he looks comfortable. I remember, and I said as much to him after going back to that Chen matchup when I saw him in that shootout, because I remember seeing him in a shootout, I think the year prior, where he just looked really shaky and really rocky and his nerves got the better of him. It looks completely different now. And with his skill set, that kid's a monster, man. I mean, an absolute monster. Mickey can go and give him a puncher's chance, but Yap is a favorite, and I expect him to go and cross the finish line here.
Yeah, I can't think of an example where someone finished second and then won the event the next year, but it's got to be motivation for him, knowing he was so close last year and came up just short. So that'd be an interesting matchup there. Good luck to both of them. Okay, my guy, FSR, up against Uski.
Mike?
Who you got?
FSR against who?
Exactly. Well,
it it was FSR against who in the last round too. So
The Finnish champion Jani Juski.
Yeah.
2 Finns in a row, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. You got to make him a heavy favorite. You know, the last time he barely escaped the match, he went like 10 matches in a row right to the finals. So
don't say that, Mike. Joey's got him on his damn fantasy team. We don't need that kind of energy out there in the world, man.
I love this guy. He's so fun to watch. He gets in a rhythm.
Right, get Mike the hell out of here. That's right.
Yeah, get Mike out of here. He's so fun to watch. When he starts making balls, he's just a ball pocketing machine. I love the guy. And he's going to win this match. And he's going to go very, very deep, if not win this tournament. Mark my words.
He's not winning.
All I know is what I'm starting to notice is that every time he says he loves a guy, my phone fritzes out.
Especially if it's this guy.
Oh, that's funny. This is an intriguing matchup. We got Darren Appleton and Roberto Gomez. What do you think, Melina?
You guys were talking before about, shaky arms and stuff like that. I think you were talking about who are you talking about? Mike, another Filipino. But Gomez and that 3-minute 9 ball in his match, you could not believe how his back elbow was shaking.
Really?
That's why he kept getting up and kept getting down on it. It was like, I thought he was on a roller coaster ride or something. It was
wow.
His arm was all over the place. It was that.
Yeah, get him the hell out of here as well for that remark.
It really does look like we've had enough with Pinozo. Get him out.
The fact of the matter is, Mora let him off the hook. Let's just start off with saying that, because Mora had Roberto dead to rights and John let him off the hook. That's number one. Number two, give credit where it's due, because Roberto's been on a really good run lately. He's had some signature wins in big events going back to the International Open, where he won the one pocket against Tony. But I remind everyone, Tony dogged his brains out in that final against Roberto. Let's just make that clear. But Roberto's got a little bit of dog in him, and that 3-minute 9 ball showed that he still has some ghosts in that closet there. It's only going to get tougher. Darren's coming off a big win over Riku, and I like Riku's game a lot. 9-4 pretty convincingly. If Darren smells blood, I like Darren because I think Darren's a finisher. But could Roberto go and hit a gear? For sure. But I'm going to go with Darren.
I tell you, I was really appreciating Darren's form before the suspension. I thought he was really tracking well. He was playing well. And so, after that time off, it kind of remains to be seen if he's going to get back to that and really continue to push forward. But I like Darren in this one. I think Darren's going to win this one, especially Roberto having such a shaky match last time. I'm going with Darren Appleton. Pinozo?
Yeah, I'll go with Darren too. I mean, like you said Roberto's got a little dog in him, and luckily he faced someone who's got kind of the same problem when it gets late in these bigger matches, which is John Mora. God, I can't imagine how many times I've seen him supposed to beat someone good and just can't get across the finish line. So
that was a great matchup, by the way, like just from a back and forth kind of standpoint.
Yeah, it was.
Roberto's on my team, right?
You get in that situation against Darren, he's not going to let you.
I think Roberto's on my team because I did the whole Roberto Mora. Remember?
He is. Yeah. Your dog.
Is he my alternate? Yeah. Is he one of my alternates?
Let me see here because I can't read that bracket on the screen. Let's bring Mike back in while we're doing this. Or Joey, you bring Mike in while I look this up here.
All right, hold on, Pinozo. We're coming.
No, Roberto is on the bench right now.
He's on my bench.
For Team Joey Ryan. So
he's going to stay on the bench unless he wins that one, and then we'll reconsider.
Okay. Well, maybe if
my phone goes out again, I gotta dive because my phone's actually getting really hot. I don't know what the hell's going on. So just an FYI.
Right. Sounds good. Okay, so now we have another matchup: Polish players Victor Solinski and Daniel Maccio. I got to go with Victor. I love him. I think he's got a really good chance to go deep here. Great young talent, kind of guy.
Joey has Victor.
Yeah, kind of guy that walks by you in the pool room and you think, man, I bet you I can beat that guy, and you have no chance of beating him. He just doesn't look like a pool player, right? Even when he plays, he doesn't really look like a pool player. But
Yeah.
he just plays great. So I like Victor in this one.
Yeah. Big time.
Third, I'm with you guys. Victor, he's got an unorthodox stroke to him. I think the kid's getting better. I think the kid's a future world champion.
So I saw Nick De Leon's post earlier today. Got by Frank Candela from Italy. And
Big win for
I
Nick.
said, oh, okay, now you got an easy matchup. He plays Chang Jung Lin. So, woo! I think everybody in the world's going to pick Chang, but I think Nick wouldn't have it any other way, right? He knows he's an underdog here, and he's going to have to play good to beat him. In fact, he's going to have to play the match of his life. So I'm picking Chang, but rooting for Nick.
It's so hard. Nick is definitely underrated. Not underrated. I'm sorry. Nick's heart is underrated. His ability is right there with it. Chang is a monster of monsters. He's a top tier player in every sense of the word. He's gonna have to have the match of his life, like Joey said. I don't know how else you go and beat that guy. That guy is just on a different level. He's in a final too, just recently. So, Mike, we're bringing you in.
Mike's gone. All right, we got Omar Al-Shaheen and Radislaw Babika.
Yeah, I mean you got to like Omar, right? Even though Babika is the guy who just never has any quit in him. Very seasoned player. Omar, I mean, who knows? He may have another run left in him, but we haven't seen him over the last. Actually, ever since that final of the World Championships, we ain't seen him.
Yeah, I think he's underperformed this year for sure. He really hasn't done a whole lot, but he's certainly capable. Still a world class player, but can he?
I had high hopes for him too, Joey. So I'm sitting there.
Yeah, me too.
I was sitting there at the Derby, and we were in a tournament room, and he walks up, and we're just cutting up, and I think we're watching like Shane and plays one pocket match, and he says, "Mike," he says, "what kind of odds can I get that I go and snap this whole thing off?" And I was like, "Hell yeah, that's the kind of attitude that I like to go in here." And then I heard what he was asking for odds wise, and I was like, "Yeah, I don't know if I want to lay those kind of odds, Omar."
You're like, "Why are you being a nit, Omar?"
But I love Omar. He's a great guy. Really just solid individual. So I hope he does well, and I hope he gets by Babika. And I would definitely go and bet on him against Babika.
All right. So my guy Neil's on my team. Let me remind you, all these people in the winners bracket still on my team. I mean, or still in the winners bracket against Loho Sum.
He almost lost to Donnie Mills, buddy. No disrespect to Donnie, but he was down big to Donnie Mills.
Excuse me. If Donnie Mills is going to play good in an event, it's going to be the U.S. Open. He plays good at the U.S. Open. I told you that.
Or Turning Stone.
Okay. Fine. You like Neil's getting through, or you got Loho Sum?
I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know what Neil's going to go and show up. He's looked rocky since the Mosconi Cup, but he's a very seasoned and accomplished player. Loho Sum, I don't really know how to go and clock him, to be honest with you. I mean, he had a really good run at the World Pool Masters, where I kind of think he was free rolling some. There really wasn't a whole lot of expectations on him. We're gonna kick this bot out of the chat here, so just bear with us. There wasn't a whole lot of expectations when it came to Loho Sum in that event, and then he ends up making it to the final, beating a lot of really great players along the way. So we'll see. I guess this will really. What are you doing, Joey?
You highlighted the chat. You did.
Did I? Take that down. I don't know.
I did.
Take it down.
I was like, what do you need, a dating site, Mike? What's going on?
No. Did you put that up, or is it still up?
No,
it's up on
we both clicked on it to boot the person out, and I think one of us accidentally showed it on the screen. Sorry, guys. We're not in top form right now. We're a little out of stroke. So I like this matchup here, Chris Reinhold and Thomas Kaplan. Chris is somebody not a lot of people are talking about. And not to use like a football analogy where they say Lamar Jackson's put on 20 pounds of muscle, but Chris Reinhold's put on about 20 pounds of muscle. He looks completely different when you see him now. He's been working out. He's been lifting weights, eating right. Could he put a deep run together here, Mike? What do you think?
Chris is going to need a deep run. I love the guy. He's hard to not root for. Thomas Kaplan is a great Polish player. But I think Chris has it in him, and Chris is always motivated for sure. So it's gonna be tough. Chris isn't really in discussion for the Mosconi Cup just because of not going out and playing very many events this year. But he has that ability to go on a deep run. This would be the beginning because up until this point, I don't think Chris has really been tested.
Where would he need to finish to be in serious consideration for Mosconi? What do you think?
I think the only way he makes it on this team is if he makes it on points. So that means he would have to finish X amount, whatever puts him in the money. That's the only way that Chris,
top
yeah,
4
that Chris,
or something.
Right. Yeah, we just haven't seen enough waves from him this year. Would be my guess. So
Yeah. Well, I'm rooting for him. Great guy.
definitely,
What about that matchup though? Could go either way, huh?
yeah, without a doubt.
Another great Polish player.
I mean,
And
there's
then
a lot of them.
it looks like the last match at 1:00 Eastern time, table 1, Tyler Steyer, Shane Van Boning. Give us your
Blockbuster.
breakdown.
I mean, you got to go with Shane. He dodged a bullet with Joey. I think Joey let him off the hook. Margaret's a really tough matchup. We haven't seen her over the last few years, but Margaret can play some pool. I was there in Sacramento at Hard Times when she beats Jeremy Sauce. She beats
Sase.
Sauce. I
Put
think
you on
she
tilt when I say
think she gave John a run for the money, if I'm not mistaken. She had a lot of really quality wins, and they're eluding me right now, but she can play some really jam up pool. Tyler, winning his first 2 matchups, he was in a hole against Lucas. Comes back and wins. So shout out to Tyler. I don't know. I know Shane's gonna be a heavy, heavy, heavy favorite. But we've seen Tyler, put monsters in holes in events. We saw
he
it.
gets up. He gets up
Yeah.
for big matches. That's one thing I love about Tyler. He gets up for big matches. He will play his heart out in this match, and it's going to be close. It's going to be Hill or 9-7. And I'm going to go with the upset here. I'm taking Tyler.
Okay, so if you're getting spotted 2 games on the wire, you mean to tell me that you're betting on Tyler if you're getting plus 2?
Yes.
No, we can fire something at it. I'm pretty lucky.
Come on, Mike. Don't take advantage of me. All right, let's go quickly down the loser side from bottom to top. See what we got
there's
here.
no way. We don't got that time. We're already an hour and 20 in, buddy. There's no way we're going to be
Don't
able
worry
to go
about that.
through.
We got 86 people in here, Mike, across all the platforms. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Let's just see if there's any intriguing matchups. What do you got to go do your hair?
Now.
do your soul patch?
What do you got?
Joey Tate, Christina Tkach.
That's actually a really good matchup.
It really is.
It really is. Yeah, it really is.
We couldn't have left without talking about this matchup. Does Joey bounce back from the mental error that he made against Shane and win this match against Christina? Christina's a great player.
Yes,
maybe favored on paper at this point.
I like Joey in that matchup.
Okay.
Yeah, I like Joey in that matchup. I hope he goes and wins, but Christina's great in her own right as well.
Let's just pick a couple more here as we go through. Anything pique your interest as we scroll through here? Oh, there's Dom's amateur pick. Pedro's still alive.
I love Robert Pedro, Frost, but I hope Nikos puts him away so I can keep on trucking.
Robert Frost and Matt Krall should be a pretty good matchup.
Keep on rolling.
Botter. And then looks like we have... What happened here? Oh, this one's tomorrow morning. Ty Blowers still alive. Oh, Ty Blowers. Look who he beat.
Hennessy.
Check it out. 8-6. Love Ty Blowers. Great player from Wyoming. Young guy. What, 17, 18?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
So, great player, great kid. Now we're getting in a round deeper over here. Bistro Bosch against Theron. Kazakis. Let's see. What else
Alice better win that match. That's all I'm saying.
Billy Thorpe and Yednek. Gotta like Billy there.
Keep on cruising. We got anything else?
Let's see. PS.
Justin
this
Martin.
Would be a good match. That'd be a good match. Justin Martin and Van Larup.
Be a real solid matchup.
Yeah. Huh. Who did Justin Martin lose to? I wonder.
It was a great player. I forgot who it was.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah. Vitali.
Upset. Mark it down. That's an upset.
Who's that? Right here?
Vitali. Yep. I remember seeing him at the I think it was a World Cup of pool. He can play.
Who this? Yip King Ying?
Yep.
Yip King Leo? He's gonna win that one?
Yeah, without a doubt. Well, no. I'm sorry, not without a doubt that he's gonna win, but he's a solid player. Is what I meant.
All right, you heard it here, guys. Mark it down. Sheriff Demetrius. What else we got? You know, it's so interesting because the winner side, there's a ton of intriguing matchups. Down the loser side, not so much.
Well, it's about to be the other way around, Joey, because half of those players on the one-loss side are going to be sent over to the winner side, and they're going to be fighting for their tournament lives. So it's gonna really make for great matchups on this side as well.
Hey, what about our buddy Raymond Linares? Does he have a chance in this match against Wu? He's playing good pool.
Raymond's a solid player, without a doubt.
He is.
Wu's a killer.
Wu's Wu.
Wu's a killer.
Wu is Wu. And there's Stephen Holm from Canada and Derek Thea. That should be a good matchup. Gotta like Holm there. Solid Canadian player. Mark Vidal. Yeah. Riku. Oh, this is an interesting match. Okay, to me, this is one of the most intriguing matches on the loser side. Tomorrow at 10 a.m., John Mora and Riku Rampanen. We met Riku. We first saw Riku out in Vegas when he beat Sky Woodward in the Predator event. And we interviewed him. It was a little difficult interview. He doesn't speak a lot of English. But
he does. He was just nervous.
He was nervous. Real nice kid. Great player. And taking on John Mora. Obviously, Mora's got much more experience. But I think Riku could give him a run for his money. What do you think here, Melina?
I think without a doubt he can give him a run for his money. Now, is he going to go across the finish line? Excuse me. I don't know. I think John gets up for different things. You know what I mean by that is I think he gets up more for the cash. You know, he's kind of transitioned into more of a seasoned money player, in my opinion. Like he's not fighting for Mosconi Cup points. He's not fighting for, ranking points or anything like that. I think John loves titles, and that heartbreaking loss to Roberto was just brutal. But, if John goes out, he'll probably get in a decent game and go and win 10,000 the next day, So
yeah, we have in the chat here, commentator JR, Derek Thea related to Dave Day. I believe that's his son. I'm not sure, but Dave Day has been a great player in Pennsylvania for a long time. Won a lot of regional events, and I think Derek's his son and plays very well too. Here's a good matchup: Joe Spence and Corey Deuel. Corey Deuel still hanging around, beat Max Eberle. I think I got to go with Corey there. Just experience. Love Joe Spence, but I'm going to go with Corey.
I would take Joe in some games. That's all I'm saying. And I would take him and I would also take him on the money line too.
Hey, Ernesto's still alive. Got to pull for Ernesto Dominguez.
That guy can play. Trust me. I've seen it.
Okay. Okay. So let's talk about this, right? The other day I sent you a message, said, did you see Kim Davenport's video? Did you guys in here watching? Let us know. Did you see Kim Davenport's video? He's like, I just cut the lawn. I'm 67 years old, and I just got to thinking, I don't think anybody in the world can beat me in 9-ball at that age, or anybody that age or older can beat me in 9-ball, right? Something like that. And then you and I were talking about it, and then I thought, how old is Ernesto? That would be a good matchup.
We would have to go and talk with Oscar to see if that matchup could realistically go and happen. I like Ernesto. I have not seen Kim Davenport go and play, but I know Ernesto is playing quite a bit. Hold on, I'm adjusting the graphics here. Sorry, Joe. I think that would be a really fun matchup to go and watch, myself personally. I'd be with it. Ernesto can play pool still, without a doubt.
Yeah, that would be a good match. You just can't let Ernesto be the table mechanic for that match. He might know the secrets.
He might know it, that's for sure. Let me
All right, Mike, we've seen a few rounds now. We're 3 rounds deep in the winner side. I know we made our fantasy picks. I think who's winning again? Which team? Oh yeah, that's mine. My team's winning. But
no idea.
After what you've seen so far, who has impressed you the most in this tournament?
You mean player-wise, right?
Yeah. Boy. Well, not fantasy owner wise. We know the answer to that, but yeah, player
Oh
wise.
my God, give me a break here, buddy. Hold on, I'm gonna throw up the graphic here. So I'm gonna go with Jason. Jason looked really smooth. Um, Jason looked like he's got a lot of confidence. It reminded me the way Jason was playing of how he played back at the Super Billiards Expo. Now the field obviously was not nearly as deep as it is right now with the U.S. Open, and Jason's going to have a ton of killers to go and fade. But Jason looked great. If Shane gets on a roll, who knows? You got Yap, who was in a final last year. Carlos still sticking around the winner's side. I mean, there's so many guys who are just still in it. But don't sleep on me or Dom in the fantasy pick. I'll just put you like
Not
that.
happening. Not
Especially
happening.
me. Especially me.
Last question. It's been an hour and a half. We've got 97 people watching across all the platforms. So I'm going to put you on the hot seat, put you on the spot. Melina Mike, what player has been the most disappointing for you in this event so far?
Boy, that's a hell of a question. What player has been disappointing? If Tyler
Underachieving.
if Tyler doesn't get past Lucas, because I think Tyler was down like 5-1, I probably would have said Tyler. But great comeback win for him. Man, I don't know. I guess it would have to be Jeff DeLuna, but I didn't expect a whole lot from Jeff's game. I didn't expect him to go 1-2, that's for sure. But you would expect someone of Jeff's caliber to make a much deeper run at the U.S. Open. So
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I mean, he's a heck of a player. Maybe he had a hard time with the break box.
I mean, at one point in his match, he literally, and it was deep in the match, he put the cue ball dead center and just whacks at him like as
Crushing
hard. Which makes no sense because everyone else is methodical, either trying to make the one or trying to spin the wing ball in. So, but yeah, live and learn.
Well, hey, Mike, I'm heading home tomorrow. I'll be back in Arizona, but let's check out tomorrow's action and maybe come back on here tomorrow night and let everybody know who's still winning the fantasy contest.
I will make sure an update unless Joey or Pernozzo's up. We'll see you
I
guys
said,
later.